Welcome back to This Is a Commander channel, where this is a Commander channel, and today I'm going to talk about Commander Tough Rules and Cool Interactions, episode 146. Today's episode is going to take a look at a question that a subscriber asked on last week's episode, and it was in regards to another new card releasing in the upcoming Duskmourn set, and I'm going to be betting that it's going to see a lot of play due to its effect. The card is Hedge Shredder, and the subscriber said this question. Question about another new card that got spoiled today, called Hedge Shredder. I know cards that say mill would trigger this thing, but what about a card like Grisly Salvage? Does that count? So let's take a look at these cards, starting with the Shredder. Oh, and for fans of bonus questions, I've got two of them for you at the end of this video. Okay. Hedge Shredder is a vehicle with two triggered abilities. The first one says that whenever Hedge Shredder attacks, you may mill two cards, and the second says that whenever one or more land cards are put into your graveyard from your library, put them onto the battlefield tapped. So clearly the Shredder's own mill ability and other mill abilities that hit lands would trigger this ability for you to put them onto the battlefield tapped. But let's take a look at that Grisly Salvage, which is an instant that says, reveal the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature or land card from among them into your hand. Put the rest into your graveyard. The Salvage is a super popular card that sees a ton of play in self-mill decks, but it does lack the word mill. The question now becomes, if a card is being revealed from the library via a spell's effect and then placed into the graveyard, does that still count as it coming from the library? Does being revealed change the zone that it was in? And to answer this, as always, we will take a look at the comprehensive rules and go to section 701.16, which defines what revealing means and all the different ways to handle revealing, and specifically, we will take a look at the sub-rule B, and we will see that it states, revealing a card doesn't cause it to leave the zone it's in, which is pretty nice to have something so straightforwardly stated in the comprehensive rules. Any lands that you put into the graveyard via the Grisly Salvage will indeed trigger your Shredder. So let's try to complicate things a bit with bonus question number 1. Would cards like Fact or Fiction and or Realms Uncharted still follow this, what we've just discussed earlier in this episode? Fact or Fiction is an instant that says reveal the top 5 cards of your library. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles, put one pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. And then Realms Uncharted is an instant that says, search your library for up to 4 land cards with different names and reveal them. An opponent chooses 2 of those cards, put the chosen cards into your graveyard and the rest into your hand, then shuffle. The wording here is reveal, but it has the added aspect of your opponent placing them into piles for Fact or Fiction. Does this form of revealing make for a different result because they're being placed into piles? Are these piles a zone outside of the library? And then for the Realms Uncharted, when you search the library and then hand them, pull them out of your library and hand them to your opponent, they're now physically removed from the library. So are they still in the zone of the library while that Realms Uncharted is resolving? Would either of these situations be different from the Grisly Salvage one? Or are they similar? Which one? Maybe one? Who knows? Bonus question number 2. Would this be handled similarly for a card like Underground Mortuary, which is the Golgari Surveil land, and the comprehensive rules defines Surveil in section 701.42a that says, to surveil in means to look at the top in cards of your library, then put any number of them into your graveyard and the rest on top of your library in any order. So do we treat looking at in a similar way to how we treat revealing? Okay, so will any of you be adding the Hedge Shredder to your decks? We've gotten a ton of self-mill decks lately with Corum the Undertaker, Disa the Relentless, the Wise Mothman, the Myco-Tyrant, the Master Transcendent, and there's still a ton of the classics like Sidisi Blood Tyrant, and of course there's Muldrotha the Gravetide. Will any of you be living the dream of having out a Mesmeric Orb and Amulet of Vigor at the same time? What about having a Hedron Crab while doing that? That is, I think you might just get your entire library's worth of lands out if that were to happen. That'd be kind of crazy. Anyhow, that's all I've got for today's episode. As always, I hope that all of you have found this video to be entertaining at least, and I hope that a few of you have even learned something about the crazy rules in this great game of Magic. Have a good one. Ta-ta.